Start with you, Faith. There have been significant changes in the BC real estate market over the past few years. We have seen numerous taxation rules imposed, along with tighter federal and provincial regulation. Yet they're still in the midst of what some are calling a housing affordability crisis. I'm sure some of you guys want to know, in these current market conditions, what are the most common questions or concerns your clients are seeking for you?
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for the lovely introduction. Hi, everybody. Well, one of the main things that I've been asked about a lot recently is, what's my home worth? Everybody wants to know what my home is worth. With all the new BC assessments coming out, that's been one of the biggest questions I have. There's a lot of concern that homeowners' equity has been taken off the table because they get their assessments, and some of them have been depreciated a lot. So that's one of the biggest questions I get, Randy. And I just would like to say right now that the assessed value and market value are two different things. So really, if you are worried about that, you really should call your trusted advisor in and get a proper estimate of value based on market value, not assessed value. So that's one of the things I get asked about a lot. One of the other things is right now, I think we've all heard a little bit about what's happening with insurance and in the condo market, and strata owners are concerned about that, and rightly so. So that's a hot topic right now. BC assessments kind of waned a bit. The insurance is the next thing that's coming up right now, and how condo owners as a whole, strata corporations are going to deal with new insurance. And then the other thing I would say that's relatively new, and you could speak to that better than I, is the stress test, and there's a little bit of alleviation there for first home buyers, which I think is helpful. So those are the things, and all of these in some sense come down to values and affordability.
That's super. As the population grows in this region, we're certainly seeing a movement to smaller homes. Is this the way of the future? Is this a fad?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's the way of the future, and a trend that we're going to see continue. Clearly that's represented very well here on the Lower Mainland, where you're kind of restricted in terms of having mountains and ocean on one side. Density is a real challenge for all building. So there's a factor of being able to find space to build homes. People would prefer, or a majority of people would prefer, to live in a single family residence as opposed to living in a condo, if they could have what they truly want. Small homes allows them to have that on a smaller piece of land. And also, so there's that land density piece, but there's also the affordability piece. It actually makes home ownership a little bit more reachable for those that want to get into the real estate market, i.e. the millennial market, that really wants to own, but it's just too restrictive for them to get into the market. So I would say that we're going to be seeing a lot more in the way of small homes. And I think that there's going to be some really ingenious and creative designs coming down the road as well that really makes it quite attractive to many.
I can't wait. I'm excited. I know our daughter would love to move into a tiny home in our own backyard, but municipality zoning doesn't allow for something like that at this point in time where we live. So hopefully that'll come sometime soon.
I think it will.
Yeah, thanks. Faith, turning to you for a moment here. Condo versus detached home. If you're in the market for a home, what are the financial downsides and potential benefits of purchasing a condo versus a detached home? How do you know which is right for you and your family for the long term?
Well, that's a big question. That's interesting. It sort of comes off what you said about tinier homes, and I think that that is a trend for the majority of us, and I think it's a good trend. But getting back, so first of all, again, we come back to affordability. I think, as you just pointed out, if you could afford to have a single detached smaller home, you may want to do that if that's an option because it suits your budget. But there are other things, I think, in that decision. Some people will choose to go to a condo or a strata type of property because they don't want to have the upkeep or maintenance or be responsible for that solely if you have a detached home. So again, I think first of all you have to look at affordability, because that's going to dictate if you can have a home or move into a single family home or a condominium or some type of a strata title property, and location is another one. And again, then you're going to come back to what is your lifestyle. So lifestyle, affordability, they kind of go hand in hand in the location that you want to be. And if you have kids, for example, that's where the schools that they go to are going to be super important. Do you want to drive the kids every day to school? Can you afford to be somewhere closer? So both have merit. And condos also, you have to remember they can be triplexes or fourplexes. They have their own merit, and single detached homes have merit. And I think it really depends on the individual and what they can afford, what their lifestyle is, and how their family will function in that space. I think, again, as you pointed out, having smaller spaces and being creative on how you use your land mass is going to become more and more important. And interestingly enough, I was looking, I get so many emails in a day, and another realtor shot me this email, and I'm not the only one that got it, I'm sure, but it was a little, a small home. It was maybe 1,700 square feet in and around the Main Street area, and I thought, wow, that's so great. I could see myself living there, and you could have maybe someone another family in the basement, right, in the lower level. So it comes back to individuals, affordability, and what their lifestyle is.
Actually, statistically from our studies, it was found that 20% of consumers would be willing to drive further from their work and amenities in order to get something they can afford. But also another 20% would be willing to move into a smaller home to get what they can afford. So there's kind of a way up decision that has to be made by the buyer.
Exactly. It all comes down to the individual and their family.
Exactly.
That's a big part of that decision making. But that's an interesting statistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Larry, turning to you again.
You might as well get up
You
now,
want to get up?
Larry.
That's right. I'll wait for the question.
When talking with a variety of builders, renovators, what steps should homeowners take to further protect themselves?
Okay, might as well. I'm going to give you a secret. Now, being in the industry, if I had to hire somebody, and I know the games are going on, I'm going to give you a secret. Here's how you trick a builder into here's how you trick them. Here's what you do. You say, this is good. You say, I'm looking for a builder that has lots of volume, so I know your prices are better. How many projects are you going to do? How much do you do in a year? Or how much do you have? Actually, better yet, how many projects are you working on right now? How much did you finish last year? Well, they're going to brag and they say, well, I got 6 on the go right now, and I did 12 last year. Wonderful. So you got 6 right now and you did 12 last year. Can you give me the names and the addresses, or give me the addresses of all 6 you got on the go right now? They just committed, they told you. And that gets them away from, if you ask them, can you give me a reference of somebody who likes you? Well, my wife likes me. My kids like me. I could find somebody who likes me. And any builder can have some project where they get somebody who's going to say something nice about him. Unfortunately, I've come across so many horrible builds, we've had to step in on some, because when I talked to them, they said they came recommended. They built a beautiful house and they loved them. Unfortunately, they're not consistent at building wonderful homes. And so by asking them how many have they built, and asking all of the homeowners, you get a sense of their consistency. Obviously, do a lien search. Talk to your lawyer. It tells a lot about their business systems. Do a lien search. Are there lawsuits? Drive by their work sites. Go visit homeowners. How is the process? But check out, more than just looking at a pretty home and do you feel good, check out their business systems, their contracts. And if you're looking at 3 different builders, ask them, can I see your contracts? What do you communicate daily to me? What does your daily logs look like? What do your financial reports look like? Get a sense. When you look at 3 builders and you're comparing all of them, you're going to get a sense of who's professional, who's organized, and who's going to take care of you.
It's fantastic, and you know, furthermore, BC Housing is a tremendous has a tremendous repository of information available to everybody, consumers. It's not a pay-for-service at all. Anybody can access that database, so you can see who's built the home by simply entering an address of the property, and or you can search for a builder and find out if they're in good standing as well with BC Housing, who of course is the regulator for issuing permits within British Columbia. Sure, thank you. Greg, over to you. We may have touched on this a little bit, but which areas of your home should you focus on improving to maximize your return on investment and boost the value of your home?
For sure. As has been for many years, and it should be no surprise, but it's number 1, your kitchen and your ensuite bath. And again, the kitchen is the entertainment center of our homes. This is where we spend a lot of time cooking. And so any changes that you can do, upgrades to your kitchen, etc., is money that you'll always get a return on. And the same is to be said for the ensuite bathroom as well, which is really has almost become our place to sort of relax and unwind. Particularly walk-in showers now are showing as being something that's really popular to homeowners. Walk-in showers, and funnily, or sort of strikingly, is bathtubs not so much anymore. It's kind of fallen back a bit. Now that's not to say that we've now stopped bathing, but just walk-in showers are a lot more attractive. And in the kitchen, a little shift, just as a point of interest, a little shift that's been made is granite countertops. No more. It's quartz now, and other surfaces as well that have become much more appealing to the market, the resale market, when you fix your home. And then also just to touch again on the sort of continuing theme of energy efficiency. So anything that you can bring to your home that will add to the appeal from an energy efficiency perspective also will provide you with a good return as we continue to see this trend of the want for efficiency to climb.
I think in fairness, I'd love to give you a little plug. Is there a way that the audience members could actually find more information in terms of what you're talking about today?
Yes, CHDA actually has a study that they release. It is the study that we perform for them, and it is available to the building industry, but also to the general public. And that's available at chda.org. If you go there and look for home buyer preference study, you'll be able to. You have to pay for it to Canadian home builders, but you can access that study yourself and actually drill into the data and find out exactly what you want. In terms of what might be appealing if you're putting your house on the market would be one example.
Wonderful, thanks. So on sort of the same theme again, Faith, this one's for you. How can sellers really make their homes more marketable?
First, call your realtor. Actually, the realtors are, your trusted advisor. So, that's a good place to start. Get somebody in that has an objective eye. Let them know that you're not going to be hurt by having them give you the straight goods, and do a walkthrough, starting from the sidewalk, or if it's a building, from the front of the building. What does it look like? How is an objective observer going to respond to it? And so they're pretty straightforward things right off the bat. You want to declutter. You want your place to be clean and shiny. You want it to smell good. So, those are pretty standard things. Anyone can pull this stuff up on the net. Again, great resource. And then, touching on what you said, if you are going to do some renovations and something's a bit tired, kitchen's the heart of the home. So that's a great place to start. And then bathrooms. People really gravitate to that. And I loved what you said about the bathtubs. because that was, you always had to have a bathtub. Walk-in showers, everybody's busy these days, so the walk-in shower, I know I'm getting off track a bit, but that's, people love that. If you have kids, you want to make sure that one of the bedrooms or bathrooms has a tub, of course, because that's where the kids are going to be bathed and play. But getting back to that, it's really straightforward stuff. Declutter, no personal photographs, get somebody in there to do a walkthrough. What we do when we meet with folks is we'll do a walkthrough and basically just do a to-do list. And you want to do the minor things, first of all, that aren't going to cost you a lot of money, maybe a bit of elbow grease. And start with that, get that out of the way. If there are bigger projects that you have to tackle, you need to talk to the person that's going to be putting your home on the market. Is it necessary? Isn't it? And if it is, how long is it going to take, and all of that, and timing in the market. So all of those things are super important. And then staging is super important. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and get an expensive stager in to stage your home. Usually, like what we do is we'll start with what the homeowner has, and then if need be, we'll augment that. Sometimes it's taking away more than it's adding in. And then you want you want to create a story, and you want to create a story around that particular condo. They're all homes, so that particular home, you want to create a story around that. And what is that experience going to be when someone steps into it? That's really the goal. And then how you get there is by going through these steps. That's it.
Super helpful. Thank you. Larry, this next one's for you. It feels like I've been kind of set up here, the proverbial, I'll toss one up to you. So here we go. What is the wrong question to use to narrow down your search for a builder?
Okay. Well, here's a problem I have, is I get a phone call from somebody, and the first thing they ask me is, what is your cost per square foot? And it really puts me in a tough position, because I know what they mean. They're asking, what is the cost per square foot for my entire project? Unfortunately, what they don't know is that some builders will give you the cost per square foot, the hard cost only, to build a home. To give you an example, it does not include demolition of the previous home, doesn't include asbestos testing or abatement, doesn't include landscaping, doesn't include the detached garage, appliances, window covering, taxes, design fees, architectural, interior design, building permit fees. So you think you're getting a number that is for the entire project, but the builder has deceived you by giving you the cost per square foot only to build, hard cost to build a house. So if you say, well, hold on a second, our number seems to be going way higher than you first told me, and you start analyzing, they say, landscaping is $50,000. Well, lady, you asked me cost per square foot to build a house, not landscape around it. So all of these costs will become extra costs as you get going. So don't allow that number, that question, to be the first question you ask. So when somebody calls me, I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Do I give you truth early? And any builder who is geared towards giving you truth early probably values the relationship. There's builders who are going to be price oriented, and those are the ones you got to be careful. There's just more questions that have to be asked if you're thinking about cost per square foot. How expensive is a builder? Don't eliminate the guys early who are giving you the truth early. Just ask more questions. It's just really not the right question to start with, and it puts me in a hard position when I want to be honest, but I know that this will be the last time I talk to them if I give them some truth early. So that's my advice.
I think that's some great advice. Could you be a little more passionate about your work, though?
Yeah,
Thanks, Larry.
Oh, you're awesome, buddy.
Yeah. So let's bring us home, Greg. Climate change is a global concern, and home construction is not immune from this conversation. Greg, how do you see climate policy and consumer demand impacting the home of the future?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, climate change a huge subject being talked about and being tackled all the time. I kind of see it coming from three directions. And first of all, I have to say, not just because I've worked in the building industry for so many years, but the building industry itself is really moving the needle on energy efficiency in homes. They are really driving it. Builders like Larry and many others that we know that are always researching and trying to find products that actually moves towards that ultimate net zero passive home design. So the building industry itself is been a key contributor to that. Obviously the consumer as well, and to the numbers I spoke of in terms of the popularity of energy efficiency products, et cetera, being incorporated into the home. That's really demonstrating that customers, although they're looking for lower costs, long-term costs on heating their home, et cetera, they're also being conscious about the environment and the fact that we do need to lessen the impact on climate change. And then you have, and then sandwiching those two is the government, who's also recognizes that things have to be done. And contrary to what a lot of people may think, aside from concrete, the building industry is really very climate conscious and doesn't really have a big impact on the environment. And that's just all because of the moves by the building industry being supported and even I would say pushed by the government as well, but also the demand of consumers. The three of them coming together, I think, will create a place where efficiency is king or queen, and that it'll be efficient homes will be something that everybody can own.
Yeah, that's great. And I think in many ways, BC is leading the charge right across the country.
For sure.
Our builders, our construction
Our
community,
step code,
very progressive.
Yep.
Working? Yeah. Hi. So interesting when you're looking at condos and now you're building, 6 or even 12-story wood frame condos. I think that's a prime example of being environmentally conscious and the kind of materials that you're using to build. So
that's a great point, Faith. And and I think BC is really becoming a world leader in timber construction, mass timber construction, 12-story and beyond timber structures. So that really is part of that big impact that we're having on reducing the carbon footprint.
it's pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. It thrills me. Yes.
Super. Well, we're going to bring this home. So thanks to our panelists today, Faith, Larry, and Greg, for joining us, sharing their insights and their wisdom and advice with each and every one of us here. It's been great having you, for sure. Well, thanks for joining us in our living room this afternoon. It's been great having you as well. These are very comfortable chairs, absolutely. I know all of our panelists and some of the RBC folks will be hanging around the main stage for a little while, so if you do have any questions, feel free to approach any of us. We're happy to answer them. And on that note, enjoy Brian. I know he's up next here in a few minutes, and enjoy the rest of the BC Home and Garden Show. Thanks for having us.